Hi, I'm Chris Howard with the University of Maine Cooperative Extension. I'm here today at the Tibbetts Farm in Lyman, Maine to talk with the Tibbetts family about crop insurance and disaster assistance.
My name is Jonathan Tibbetts. I run Tibbetts Farm with my wife, Kelly Tibbetts. We purchased the farm from my father 12 years ago. It's changed quite a bit since then. We're now, we actually now run the greenhouse center. We have a cow-calf operation of about 30 head. We have close to 200 ewes that we use for solar grazing, along with custom haying and snow removal. We only own about 25 acres, but we hay or manage close to 815, I believe is the number. So we have 2 full-time employees, not including myself, and then depending on the season, we have up to another 8 part-time employees. So we do a little bit of everything all year round. So my father was more on a veggie farm, and at that point, we were veggie farm and trucking. And about the time that I took it over, there started to be a lot of spike in labor cost, and we weren't big enough to bring in help, and we were too big to do it ourselves. So we kind of changed gears and kept some of the more profitable stuff. And we realized we could buy equipment and streamline and be faster that way than hire more people. So usually if we have disaster assistance, it's somewhere with drought or flood. We use our FSA agents. We're in contact with them in one way or another a couple times a year on stuff. My office is pretty good about reaching out to me if there's a program I might qualify for, because to be honest, I don't keep up with that. And they've helped me, streamline the process of stuff. There's been some programs that the disaster was 2 years ago. They've decided that is now eligible for some of that stuff that I'm not going to remember that, so as long as my records are fairly accurate and I can say that I had animals and I can verify my numbers, I qualify, but I don't keep track of the programs because we keep calving records and vet records on that. Acres and farms that I'm using, we update our crop map every year, and we don't have to do anything on like the greenhouse side or anything with them, but it's more just what we're doing for crops. I'm usually pretty good about reaching out for programs that I might be eligible for, so I don't have any complaints there. There isn't. It's not very often that I have to go to them to ask them about a program. Usually I'll get an email or a phone call and say, have you seen this program? And yeah, no, maybe, I don't know, so, but they've helped with that. So this, a little bit different on the way I view this is I don't rely on any of this money. Any of the disaster relief or any of those type of programs, I don't figure that into my balance sheet because I don't think you can count on it. So my philosophy on it is we'll fill the paperwork out. If I get money, it's a positive and we'll spend it on something. But I don't count on that money. It's very much almost a lottery ticket for me. It's not part of my balance sheet, and it all obviously gets figured in, but we also try to offset it with buying something. So if there is a payout of $3,000-4,000, I try to show a direct expense on it, so it doesn't show as an income on the profit and loss sheet. So, and I know that's different than some people, but for me, I try to manage most of my own stuff without having to rely on those programs.
Jonathan's advice for managing risk on farms in Maine. First, be diversified.
The biggest thing is be diversified. And I figure on all the things that we do, we're going to either break even on one of them a year, preferably not lose any money, but at least something on whatever we do that year isn't going to have the net income I want off of it.
Second, have year-round income.
The other thing is I think farmers don't realize that they need to figure out an income year-round. And that's one of the harder things to do. So for us, we start with a greenhouse season, we go into a haying season, calving, lambing season, and then we get into snow removal in the fall. So it's having an income somewhere. And that's the hard one on an upstart farm, and we ran into it too. Just how can we add one more thing to our farm but not take away from something else? So like when we recently brought sheep into our farm, I think 5 years ago now, and with that we timed the lambing so it was a month before we had calving, so we weren't trying to do both at once. And it's trying to figure out when you're farming where your timing is, and that's the difficult part. So in my case, I need employees because I'm big enough now that I can't do this all myself, so I've got to justify those employees year round, so they need to be doing something, whether it is lambing or calving or plowing snow or haying. It's, downtime on employees will kill you. So that's kind of what we've done.
Third, find niche markets.
Don't do what everybody else is doing. Find a niche. Find something that maybe has a little bit better profit margin or something somebody else isn't willing to do. I know that people say you can't make money farming and that it's hard to get into, and I think traditional farming is. I think the capital that you have to raise to get into traditional farming is expensive. But small niche markets or stuff like solar grazing or weed control with goats or small greenhouse operations, stuff where your cash flow and your money is quite a bit better, I think is always a good start.
University of Maine Cooperative Extension is an equal opportunity institution and provider committed to non-discrimination. For more information, visit extension.umaine.edu/non-discrimination.